evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from Ofori-Atta this hour, and also live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 and Y and beyond. We're also streaming live on Facebook and on X, also on YouTube at 3FM 927. With your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions for you. I should share them with us. It's 3 minutes after 5 this evening. Supreme Court Justice nominee Justice Philip Bright Mensah calls for the scrapping of the jury trial. And from the country's criminal justice system, we'll give you details of exactly why he says so and the reactions to it from some private legal practitioners who have been weighing into the matter shortly here on Hot Edition. Details as he also, together with Justice Janapari Batels, take their turn before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. Stay with us. We'll cross over back to the Appointments Committee sitting shortly to hear exactly what is going on in there. Also, the New Patriotic Party convenes the National Executive Committee meeting to deliberate on reforms as the opposition party begins rebuilding efforts towards the 2028 general elections. Also, prosecutors handling the murder case of investigative journalist Ahmed Swale still await the advice of the Attorney General despite forwarding the docket to his office. Details of this as well as the latest in the world of business and sports. And also, the governor of the central bank has been speaking. It says that he, together with the managers of the economy, have built adequate buffers to withstand external threats. Stay with us. We've got details of that shortly here on Hot Edition. The National Service Authority has also released a pin codes for 132,393 prospective graduates from the 2025-2026 service year. While we'll still take a dig into the happenings related to investigations into that particular scheme of what the Attorney General described as a criminal enterprise by the previous administration and also the Manager of National Service Authority. Stay with us. We've got details for you here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. I am Alfred Ocansey. Let's settle for a summary of the news now, and Christabel Saxe-Trevor is here.
Good evening, Alfred, and good evening to our listeners as well. In tonight's summary, the National Service Authority, NSA, has released PIN codes for 132,393 prospective national service personnel for the 2025-2026 service year. The PIN codes, covering graduates from 100 accredited tertiary institutions across the country, reflect a 26% drop in submissions compared to the average of last 3 years, an amount the NSA attributes to tighter validation protocols and the elimination of inflated or bogus submissions. The authority said 3,597 graduates from 22 institutions have been excluded from this year's mobilization because those schools are not recognized by the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC. NSA says those graduates will only be considered once verifiable evidence of accreditation is submitted. Ofori-Atta will be able to grant video interviews in 1 to 2 weeks but cannot travel in person, according to a statement by his wife, Professor Angela Ofori-Atta, released on Monday. He will need about 3 more months to fully recover. She later spoke to Asasi Radio and criticized the office of the special prosecutor for placing him on Interpol's red alert list. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says no Ghanaian has been harmed in the Israel-Iran conflict and evacuations from Iran are underway. Ghana's embassy in Israel has identified 922 Ghanaians, including 65 students. Communication channels are active, and though evacuations from Israel are currently halted due to border closures, Ghana is seeking approvals. The embassy is working remotely, bomb shelter access is being ensured, and an emergency evacuation plan is in place, with government's commitment to protect all affected citizens. And finally, the Tree Crop Development Authority has announced a new regulatory framework requiring all importers of palm oil products to register and obtain a permit before engaging in any importation activities. The directive, which takes effect on 14 July 2025, is part of a wider move to sanitize the industry and promote sustainable growth in Ghana's vital oil palm sector. Alfred, over to you.
Thank you. It's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition. We're live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. The Supreme Court Justice nominee, Justice Philip Bright Mensah, has called for the scrapping of the jury system from the country's criminal justice system. According to him, the current system is very porous and has outlived its usefulness. Responding to questions during his vetting by the Appointments Committee of Parliament earlier today, Justice Mensah indicated that some individuals have become career jurors, a development that should not be entertained. He's proposing the use of assessors instead. And this is his justification for the proposal that he made earlier today.
Now, another area which also needs reforms is our jury system. We inherited this system from our colonial masters, Britain, where they started this system. As I speak, India, some Commonwealth countries like India, Singapore, and South Africa, they have abolished the system. Why? Because it's not functional. Now, our experience in our jurisdiction has shown that that system has outlived its usefulness. So I would advocate that instead of the jury system, there must be assessors. Now, if you permit me, I will give one example. When I was in the High Court, I did assess, that was before my transfer to Secondary in 2015. I did a case where I had summed up the evidence to the jury, and as much as possible, I did it that everybody in the courtroom, or maybe those in the courtroom who understood what we were saying, anticipated that the jurors were going to, bring a verdict of guilty. They came out and said that the accused persons were not guilty. And you see, the law is also that they are the judges of fact. So their verdict is even binding on you, the judge. You may disagree. You cannot open your mouth. You have to work with it. And there was a doctor who has been subpoenaed. I've come from Ankara Psychiatric Hospital to give evidence in the case. The doctor was in the court when I was delivering my seminar. The man was so disappointed that he said that if that is what the jurors here are doing, that I will never come back again. He didn't come. So the case will have to be, I left it because I was then on transfer to Secondary. So we can give examples, but because of constraints of time, I will not do that. But I'm saying that in its place, we should establish what we call assessors. In assessors, the judges who will try the case will be three, and there will be lawyers. There will be lawyers who have become judges. They will sit on the case. And we have it on our statute books when judges try treason and high treason offenses. It's assessors. We don't do it. Jury. Our jury system here is porous. Some of them have become professional jurors. So that is one area which I will advocate. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's just Justice Philip Bright Mensah there. On the matter of the capping of the Supreme Court judges or justices at the Supreme Court, is of the view that that should also be a conversation, but then again, that 20 Supreme Court justice proposal should be maintained.
There should be no need for expansion or capping of the Supreme Court. I think that there must be a wide and expansive consultation among all the stakeholders, lawyers, GBA, constitutional lawyers, the academia, even the political parties themselves, so that we will all come to consensus as to what we must do. And if there's a consensus that there should be a cap, then the law has to be amended. Fortunately, as you said, I also looked at the law, and that is not an entrenched provision of the Constitution. Entrenched provision of the Constitution. So the amendment, as it were, can be done without much difficulty, except that, as I advocated, there must be a very wide consultation. I brought this report, an annual report of the Judicial Service, and as at June 2023, this report was issued to us last week. 595 cases were pending in the Supreme Court. So when we are talking about capping, we must also take into consideration, as I've said already, the number of cases that are in the Supreme Court pending for attention. Thank you.
On also the Galamsey and matters arising, he also shared a thought there. But then again, he suggested placing a time limit on appeals that go to court. Take a listen.
Interlocutory appeals, when a decision is made by a trial judge, as the case is pending, most often the party that is satisfied will want to go and appeal. In that case, and if he applies for stay of proceedings, it's certify the hearing of the case. So I want to suggest that yes, they have the right to appeal, but there must time limits within which the appeal must be heard, so that it doesn't affect the hearing of the case adversely. Now, coming to the criminal aspect of it. Now, this has become fashionable that if you are doing the case as a judge, when you cough, a party want to go up. When you sneeze, and sometimes they go even as far as to the Supreme Court. But then the case will say be pending. So I strongly advocate that the right of parties filing interlocutory appeals in criminal cases where the prosecution has not even ended its case must be stopped. And we can only do that through the amendment of the law, that is Act, talking specifically about Act 30.
On Galamsey, that's illegal mining, he believes there are sufficient laws to deal with the cancer. He also makes the point about the problem lying with the implementation of the existing laws. The justice also suggested judges must be trained to understand and speak the Chinese language to better aid handling of cases involving Chinese illegal miners.
First and foremost, we have this minerals and mining laws. And the offenses that the law creates are deterrent enough to punish people who are involved in Galamsey. What is left is the implementation, the effective implementation of the law. So I think there should be a collaboration between the service and then the police or the enforcing authorities. After all, we are fighting a common cause. If we allow this to go on, and in the next 5 or 10 years, we are importing water because all our water bodies are destroyed. Can we bear it? One area I also want to maybe hammer or suggest is that there are foreigners who also engage in this activities, destroying our forests and the rest of it. When they are arrested, especially these Chinese people, when they are arrested and sent to the court, the difficulty is that they don't speak English. Even if they can, they understand English, they will refuse to speak English. And because the judges or the police enforcement agencies also are unable to speak their language, it becomes more and more difficult to get them prosecuted. So I will suggest strongly, or I recommend, that the judges who are in the areas where these Galamseys are going on, the judges must either be taken to China for further studies in Chinese language, or they should fashion the JTI must be resourced to bring experts to come and train our judges. That also is another way of, because if the person has committed offense and he can't speak, you can't prosecute him. Then it's always saying that, oh, let me leave him for him to go away. So that is the recommendation I will make. Thank you.
That's all I have here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. You just had the Supreme Court Justice nominee, Justice Philip Bright Mensah there. The vetting of Justice Janapari Batels-Kojo is ongoing. The Appointments Committee of Parliament will cross over there shortly, but we're still keeping an eye on how things are playing out with the National Executive Committee of the New Patriotic Party currently engaged in a crucial meeting at the Alisa Hotel here in Accra, deliberating on proposed constitutional reforms that could significantly reshape the party's internal power dynamics and electoral processes as well. Chaired by the party's first vice chair, Dankwa Smith Bote. The meeting has drawn top-tier party leadership, including the former vice president and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party in the 2024 elections, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, General Secretary Justin Kodia Frimpong, Majority Leader Alexander Penyumaking, and the Ashanti Regional Chair Bernard Entry Boysiakon, also known as Chairman Wontumi. And at the heart of the discussions is a proposal from the party's Constitutional Review Committee recommending a sweeping review of the NPP's internal rules. Amongst the most contentious proposals is a suggestion to the election of the party's presidential candidate before national executive officers. That's a reversal of the current practice where the national executive officers are elected and then the flag bearer election follows, the one that rather to be the reverse. We'll see how things play out. Sources are saying to us that the idea is aimed at aligning executive leadership with the party's chosen flag bearer to avoid internal frictions during election cycles. However, critics within the party warn it could consolidate too much power in the hands of the flag bearer and undermine checks and balances within the party structure. Also under discussion is whether appointed executives should be officially recognized as part of the party's national leadership framework, a move that would grant them voting rights and greater influence in key decision-making processes. The meeting, still ongoing, is expected to conclude with a resolution to forward the proposals to the party's National Council for further consideration. Now, should the National Council approve, the reforms will be tabled at the next National Delegates Conference of the New Patriotic Party for final decisions. If you go on our Facebook page, we're showing you videos of the arrival of some of the key and top-tier executives and the leadership of the New Patriotic Party at the hotel earlier today. And if you go on the Facebook page right now, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is on there when he was arriving earlier today. And also you have Brian Achampong, Dr. Brian Achampong, who clearly has made intentions very clear about his will to contest the flag bearership of the New Patriotic Party. And then also the former Chief of Staff, Fremont Parry, is at this said meeting as well. If you go on our Facebook page, we're showing the video of her arrival earlier today as well. And then also Kwabena Japan, a former flag bearer hopeful of the New Patriotic Party. Also, if you go on our Facebook page, we're showing you the video of his arrival earlier today. And all these persons are still testing the waters and have not clearly come out with their decision to contest the flag bearership of the party. But what we do know is that that conversation is one that will take a lot of attention today at the ongoing meeting at the Alisa Hotel. Also, right now on Facebook is the video of Chairman Wontumi's arrival at this meeting earlier today, having a hearty chat with some members of the national executive body of the New Patriotic Party. So it's one that we're keeping an eye on, and if there are any updates after that conference, that's the meeting earlier today, we'll let you know about it. Also arriving earlier was the minority leader Alexander Penyumaking, who sat through the early hours of the meeting but had to leave to also attend to the business of the appointments committee, which he is the ranking on that particular committee. Stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. As always, your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome. And one other issue as well that has got a number of you talking is the latest from Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta. The former finance minister has successfully undergone a robotic-assisted radical prostatectomy at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, to treat prostate cancer, according to his wife. Now, the procedure, which took place on Friday, the 13th of June, 2025, lasted over 4 hours and was part of a planned treatment following a confirmed diagnosis of prostate cancer earlier in the year. In a statement release, which we have a copy of, it indicated that despite his medical condition, Mr. Ofori-Atta has faced legal challenges. The Office of Special Prosecutor declared him a fugitive after he failed to appear before questioning in an ongoing investigation. His wife, in an interview, had also indicated that Ken Ofori-Atta might need 3 months at the minimum, if all things go well, for him to recover. We asked Martin Pebble, private legal practitioner, as to how this latest information of Ken Ofori-Atta's possible period of recovery would influence the case as it's playing out now.
And everybody can access it. Those are some of the things.
It's still the same bad faith that has clouded this attempt by Ofori-Atta to get a further extension. Okay, so the bad faith he exercised when he was seeking the postponement in February has caught up with him. So you see that now there is very little sympathy for his case. Let me explain further. So you know that around February 18th, yes, he was declared wanted on 12th, right? And then removed, I think, about 18 February. Now in the negotiations to remove him, Ofori-Atta's letter said that he was going to go through a possible surgical procedure on 20th and 21st March, right? Now, it turned out that that particular one was a diagnostic biopsy. So it's a biopsy to check if there was cancer. So it's not this major surgery as it was made out to look like. So once he wasn't doing a major surgery, he needed to reach out to the OSP because remember, he was given a long time, relatively from February, he was given the adjournment to 2nd June. So he had the whole of March, the whole of April, the whole of May, 3 months, and he was to meet the OSP on the 2nd of June. All of this was because the sickness was made out to look far bigger, right? So if there wasn't going to be a major surgery on 20th and 21st March, he needed to have disclosed that to the OSP and seen how the OSP could make further arrangement. Maybe he could come down to Ghana to do the interviews before returning for his 13th June surgery, right? So, yes, the wife is saying he's gone through surgery successfully. Yes, I don't want to comment on that, but I'm saying that the steps, the bad faith, the Ofori-Atta, leading to his surgery is what will haunt him for a long time to come, because you had a diagnostic surgery, not a major surgery. Diagnosis, I mean, it's not any complex surgery, yet it took a long time. He, Ofori-Atta, when I say you, I mean he, Ofori-Atta, took 3 months in all, only to go through diagnostic surgery. So the wife's interview hasn't advanced his case much. I don't see how it advances the case. And you see, when it even came to the critical fact about what happened 20th, 21st March, etc., she said they always knew that before the diagnostic surgery, biopsy, okay, that if it turned out that he had prostate cancer, they will require a major surgery later on. That they always knew there would be a major surgery after the biopsy on 20th, 21st March if it turned out that he had the cancer. So that is what they were supposed to disclose early. Then they would negotiate well with the OSP. But to have hidden it, they didn't say what exactly it was. The letter, please, if you have it, please put it up. The February letter, you say that they say possible surgical intervention. You see, when you put surgical intervention, everybody's mind is on a major surgery, not a biopsy. Not a biopsy, please. Not a biopsy. So now, Ofori-Atta is lost us. The only saving grace he has, and that's not even, I think saving grace is not the right word in this context. Well, so let's just say that let's say that offer that they should interview him via this a virtual interview is what seems to give a bit of credibility to his case. But that offer is not sufficient to undo that failure of a major disclosure to the OSP, that failure to disclose to the OSP what exactly was going to happen on 20th and 21st March. So it's not enough. You know, in times past, I have said yes. I think the OSP should have taken that offer. They could have gotten the Americans to arrest. When we say arrest, not like arrest and bring him to Ghana. Arrest as a technical term. That's an officer will go there, touch him, and perform the procedures for arrest so that they could caution him. They say you are under arrest for using public office for private gain, as an example. Anything you say, blah, 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 will be taken down, blah, 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 and used in the court of law. All those things, read his rights and all those to him, just for the purpose of taking the statement, and then they will let him continue to be in America. So, yes, I said that Kisi Ejabe should have also taken that offer. But the fact that he didn't take that offer is not an excuse for what Ofori-Atta did. Failure to disclose what exactly he was going to do on 20th and 21st March, the way they said it was going to be possible surgery. And the surgery in this context, please, my emphasis is on the word context. In this context, it meant a major surgery, big one. That's how come he was given more time. No, Kisi Ejabe wouldn't have given him all this time if he knew it was going to be a biopsy, where they were going to, cut him a bit, even the surgical one, and take tissue. Nobody would take 3 months for such a relatively simple surgery. So really, the offer of the Zoom interview, etc., is not sufficient to undo the bad faith he exercised by not disclosing to the OSP exactly what would happen on 20th and 21st March.
As private legal practitioner Martin Pebble there on the former finance minister Kenneth and Ofori-Atta having successfully undergone a robotic-assisted radical prostatectomy and also at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota to treat the prostate cancer. Now, Martin Pebble is of the view that that information we're getting from his wife, that it would take all things being equal some 3 months at the least for him to recover. Does not do Ofori-Atta's case any good. But there's some reactions to this latest information that will stay on as we go on here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. But some on the news now, the ECG has been working and they're on a disconnection spree, as we're told. Christabel.
Yes, the ECG has disconnected Ghana's Water Limited's water treatment plants from the national power grid over an astounding debt of close to $1 billion as part of its ongoing nationwide revenue mobilization and disconnection exercise. The disconnection took place on Tuesday, June 17, as ECG's task force intensified efforts to retrieve debts owed by state institutions and private entities. Officials of the Electricity Company of Ghana say the disconnection exercise targeting indebted state institutions is part of a broader initiative to tackle persistent non-payments and improve the financial stability of the power sector. Shortly after visiting Ghana Water Limited, the ACG task force proceeded to the premises of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation GBC, which was disconnected over an outstanding debts of 3,153,484 Ghana cedis. According to ECG, GBC failed to comply with the structured payment plan previously agreed upon, necessitating the disconnection. Meanwhile, the Electricity Company of Ghana has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to Ghana Water Limited to settle its outstanding debts or risk an extended disconnection of power supply to its main pumping stations, which are crucial for nationwide water distribution.
There's more of this on 3news.com, but stay with us here on Hot Edition. It's some 27 minutes at the top of the hour, 6 p.m. We're going to go for this quick break. When we're back, we cross over to the Appointments Committee of Parliament, where the vetting of Justice Janapari Batels-Kojo is ongoing. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
We're still live here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7. We're also on Kesme 107.1 and on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's cross over to the Appointments Committee, where the vetting of Justice Janapari Batels-Kojo is ongoing.
I believe in mentoring young girls, bringing them up, building capacity, encouraging them to gain the heights. I would say, apart from the grace of God, nobody has plucked me from anywhere and put me anywhere ever in my life. All the steps of my life, I have worked hard, bid my time, waited on the Lord if need be, and at the end of the day, I am here. So in the judiciary, we have quite a number of good women, like I said, the skills, and like Honorable, I just said, very soon, it might be that there may be more. Maybe at this point, I may become a boy child advocate if I'm not careful.
A follow-up. It's very interesting to mention that very soon you become a boy child advocate. And if I can get your sense well, it's all because of the kind of insecurity that our current the male youth are finding themselves, because they feel that we emphasize to you have been able to because nobody nurtured you. But that is what I wanted. You've named education as one aspect. There are also mentoring that you can also be looking at any point in time. I don't know. There are so many people who feel that in talking about affirmative action, it means you are feminist, and they put all kind of negativity to it.
Honorable Leader,
and I feel that is not the case. So we are only creating awareness for all people to note that it is important that we get the women into the society, because women also do well in whatever they do. But what I believe must be done at this point in time, for which maybe we will require your proposal, is what constitutional provision can we make at this point in time to take good cognizance of the affirmative action act that we've promoted out there. Thank you.
sorry if you understood me by saying that affirmative action, as I understood it, meant that women should just be promoted for promotion's sake. I did not mean that. I said if that were to be the case and the woman didn't perform, we the women would not be happy. But asking me that what constitutional provision, I am of the view that women and men in Ghana have equal rights. I mean, we all start out at school. We are all encouraged to be the best of ourselves, gain the highest. In my little space, I have young lawyers, some of whom I've encouraged, who have become magistrates and circuit judges now. Others who are in law school, who are passed through my hands during internship, and I mentor them. At the end of the day, in my little space, those are some of the ways. And also, going back to the girl child, we encourage girls to stay in school. Education, 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 education. Because education, in my personal view, did a lot for me. So that is what I have to say.
Thank you very much. My lady, could you share some personal or professional obstacles you have faced on your journey to become a justice of the court, and how your story might inspire the next generation of legal minds? Thank you.
Very well. Our work can be laborious, lonely, frustrating, and what have you. I mean, sometimes I look back when this nomination came and I just wonder whether this is me, because sometimes you have to sit up night after night after night to read and you never finish reading. Those were obstacles. Even sometimes to go to work. There was a time I worked in Tema, but there was no official accommodation in Tema. And I was not, there was no official accommodation in Tema, and I lived on the far edge of town, towards the West Hills Mall. I had no choice, and at that time, the N1 was under construction. I had to go daily, go at dawn. Sometimes you leave the house and the moon is still shining, and you have to cross Accra. The N1 was under construction. You have to go around Pambros, Dansuma, Independence Avenue, come back to Tetekwashi before you go on. I mean, I went through all that. There were very frustrating moments. And going to tell my coming every day on the motorway and all that. But resilience, I mean, tough times build resilience. That's what I'll say. So even though you have sleepless nights, you want to do what everybody's doing, you can't. You have to be very disciplined as a judge. Those are all obstacles. Maybe you want to go and sit somewhere, but you cannot go and sit at plus 233. You have to sit behind your books. And all your mates, like all my mates are retired now, and then you see all the wonderful things they can do and get up to, but you cannot. But at the end of the day, we are here and we are thankful to God.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My lady, I think we are teasing this issue out of almost everybody here. What do you think of Article 66? First, if you may open and then get it read out.
Mr. Chairman, did I hear her say I should read it out? Very well.
And share your views with
Very well. Term of office of president. A person elected as president shall, subject to clause 3 of this article, hold office for a term of 4 years, beginning from the date on which he is sworn in as president. A person shall not be elected to hold office as president of Ghana for more than 2 terms. The office of president shall become vacant on the expiration of the period specified in clause 1 of this article, or B, if the incumbent dies or resigns from office or ceases to hold office under Article 69 of this Constitution. 4, the president may by writing signed by him and addressed to the Speaker of Parliament resign from his office as president. Please, what was the follow-up question? What did I think of it? I think it's crystal clear. The Constitution, the president cannot hold office for more than 2 terms, and that is it, period.
There's no ambiguity about it.
As far as I'm concerned, or I can see, I do not find any such ambiguity.
Anyway. Yes. And I'd like to find out from you, there is that common belief that the judiciary, critics have held the judiciary as corrupt. But I'd like you to share with us what you think about corruption in this respect.
Corruption anywhere should be excused, not only in the judiciary, but anywhere. I am of a view that when people talk about the judiciary, a lot of times they clamp up or gather up everybody working in the judicial space. It's not only judges who make up judicial work, right through from other services, the police, the prisons, judicial staff, judiciary, they all work together. So I do not think it is a blame to be laid at only the foot of the judiciary. However, one bad fruit in a basket makes all others bad. So I am humbly of the view that any presence or otherwise of corruption should be stringently seen to and wiped out. That is what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Well, my last question, my lady, that is, how do you balance respect for local cultural norms against international human rights obligations? Thank you.
Very well, Mr. Chairman. Did I hear you say, how do we balance local cultural norms against international human rights obligations? I would say that, if I understood you, I would say that whatever is not culturally repugnant to us and is intellectually right, we'll marry the two and work with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I proceed to give the floor to Honorable Togui Osahi Alexander Kwamina Abonyomaki. You have the floor.
My lady, please, let us look at page 1 of your CV, your 5-page CV. It said at J, biodata personal profile. At J, you say you speak every English entry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Your tree, out of 10, 9 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10.
7 out
How
of
would you
10.
rate your
7
tree?
out of 10.
Oh, okay. Which of the trees you mean? The Ashanti tree or the Kwapim tree? Or your own standard tree?
Received tree.
Which one?
Received tree.
My lady, which one is that?
as I heard it being spoken around me, and I picked up.
Oh, very well.
You come from Peki?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And you were born in Tamale?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Are you therefore telling the committee that your parents were civil servants or public servants who
Yes,
found
my
their
father
way?
was an education officer. He traveled the breadth and length of this country.
In your family, are you the only woman or a couple of?
As siblings, we are 3 females and 2 males.
Are you the oldest or the youngest?
I'm in the middle.
Is the male older than you or younger?
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, one is older, one is younger.
From the records, you were in Achimota School, and then you moved to St. Monica's Secondary School in Ashanti Mampo. So you had an experience of a mixed school and same-sex school.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Are you able to share with us any experience in both situations, please?
Very well. I spent 5 years in a mixed school, so I was used to that. And then I found myself in a girls' school for 2 years, but I survived. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
My lady, proud to your joining the bench, you indicated you worked with a GRA. On your CV, page 3 or 5.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Where exactly were you at GRA? Were you at the...
At the time, I joined as Honorable Chair, humbly Honorable Chair, at the time, I joined the Value Added Tax Service when it had just been introduced. Then within a few months, it was annulled. Therefore, the staff there in the legal department were absorbed into the Internal Revenue Service as it was then known. So in those days when I was there was nothing like GRA as we know it now. Thank you.
From the records also, you would agree with me that you spent some 9 years at the High Court.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Until you were eventually promoted in December of 2019 to the Court of Appeal.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
You also spent 6 years, 2004 to 2010, Circuit Court, but you don't indicate where you were.
I was in the, respectfully, Mr. Chair, I was in the Cocoa Affairs Court. I spent the time there in Accra.
Have you been a High Court judge in Winneba?
Honorable Chair, I believe the Speaker, the Honorable Member remembers me from Winneba.
I want to be sure.
Yes, I was there.
Very well. My lady, you've spent many years on the bench, and I want to take you through the very case that we did, a certiorari application that was brought before you regarding some actions of the University of Education that came up for question, and you listened patiently. One of the things I learned from you, your level of patience. You listened to everybody, lengthy submissions, and gave your ruling that they were acting within jurisdiction. And you even encouraged that the decision be tested at the Supreme Court, which was something very unusual, because I've had the occasion of practicing before judges at the High Court. When they give their ruling, they say, go and socialize me, go and socialize me. And they just embarrass you, the lawyer, as if it's a personal fight. But you said, look, it would be good to test the law, so go and test it. And in fact, after going to the Supreme Court and back, you inquired to know the outcome. Though your decision was set aside, you were not at all worried. Now, in your determination of matters that involve state institutions, by way of judicial philosophy, are you likely always to look at state interests as your first option? Are you likely to look at state interest as your first option in terms of arriving at a decision? Are you a pro-state person?
Respectfully, I always pay fidelity to the law, so I will not say that I am a state person. Whatever comes before me, I'll look at the facts and look at the law, and I will be guided.
My lady, you know that many lawyers have difficulty in open court practice. Sometimes when we meet as lawyers and we ask some of our colleagues, why have you stopped going to the court, or why don't you want to do court practice? The complaints are that some judges are too harsh, not that they don't like to be corrected. That is the lawyers, not that they don't want to be corrected, but their utterances. And the emphasis is that some female judges are not kind at all regarding their words, and some are very emotional. I have really experienced that myself. What would you say to encourage some of these young lawyers who have such concerns about such attitudes of judges, particularly female judges?
Mr. Chairman, I will say that it's unfortunate that people will want to stop their whole practice because of, again, it would be unfortunate if a judge or a female judge were to speak harshly or berate a lawyer, be it a junior or whatever. I do not think that has been my cup of tea. I have not behaved that way on the bench. I would not encourage it. If I were to meet any lawyer who says he has stopped practice before that, I will encourage that person to go back and pick up the pieces and practice, and not to be deterred by such.
Quite encouraging. Thank you very much. My lady, I'm going to take you through some few questions. These border on constitutional principle of equality before the law, especially in the context of calls for equal parental leave rights for men, paternity leave. And my main aim on these set of questions basically is to explore your understanding of gender equality and social justice reasoning. So I shall proceed with the first of these set of questions, respectfully. 1, on constitutional interpretation of Article 17. Article 17 of the Constitution guarantees equality before the law and prohibits discrimination on the basis of gender. Do you think the absence of paternity leave in Ghanaian law constitutes gender discrimination against men?
Honorable Chair, thank you. To the extent that the men are denied it, that is some form of discrimination.
Would you therefore propose a legislation, a parliament enactment, and not a court enactment to fill this gap? Or now that you're going to the policy court, where things are large, you would prefer that if Parliament is not acting, you will zoom in to act. Bearing in mind the fact that after Glomega in Article 1815, where you give Parliament the chance to enact, to regulate, we are still not done with that. Would you want to take that up should there be a situation like this to fill the gap, my Lord?
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. If the opportunity came my way, I do not think I would mind. However, Parliament could do same. Thank you.
My lady, I didn't get the last part of your question.
However,
your answer, please.
I said, however, Parliament could do same, but if I had the opportunity, I would do it. But
I'm sure the leader of government business has heard us, and the Children and Social Protection Minister has heard us to make proposal to the executive. If it comes, I'm sure it's something that Parliament could consider. Thank you very much for that view. Now, on social rules and constitutional evolution, some have argued that exclusive maternity leave reinforces outdated gender roles and that equal parental leave will promote shared caregiving. From a constitutional perspective, how should the law respond to such evolving social expectations?
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did I hear equal paternity?
What I'm saying is that there is a school of thought that exclusive maternity leave reinforces outdated gender roles, and that equal parental leave will promote shared caregiving. Now, from a constitutional perspective, you go into a constitutional court. How should the law respond to such evolving social expectations?
I think a question ago, Honorable Chair, a question ago, the answers would fit into this. If we are to go forward and apply equal leave on both the paternity and the maternity side, we have the maternity leave already. We should then bring about the paternal leave so that it is equal. Both parents can share. Thank you.
You are giving some good news to the men. Very well. Now let's also look at balancing biological realities with equality. On this score, I would want to pick your thoughts on this. So while childbirth is biologically tied to the woman, some say that postnatal care responsibilities should be shared.
It has always been a journey of Pan-Africanism and consciousness. It is your regular taxi driver with the urban blend and 3FM 92.7 in living stereo every day, Monday to Friday, from 12:30 p.m. till 3 p.m. This is the show everybody listens to, so your business will certainly do well here. My name, Black Rasta. I am the rootical, hairtical, Don Gargan, Mua Fire, come forward. Atinga ya chika fankare, Azure ya chika fankare, Abama ta chika fankare.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
Welcome back. It's live on the Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Let's cross over back to the Appointments Committee of Parliament, where the vetting of Justice Janapari Batels is ongoing.
That's right, sir.
So, my lady, so looking at your date of birth, should the majority eventually confirm you, how many years are you going to be on the Supreme Court bench?
6.5 years. My Honorable Chair, 6.5 years.
My lady, Honorable Parliament will do the approval, and we are in the process of vetting. Why do you say should majority confirm you?
I get what the chairman is saying. What I'm suggesting is that normally we take decision by majority. You know, majority carries the vote. When they are yesterday's sins, I don't think. Anyway, yeah. You are a backbencher. When leaders are having their thing, you want to get yourself involved. You are just a returnee. Are you the vanguard of government business? Only yesterday, you people had a different position.
Address the
now
chair
you have changed
to ask
inconsistent people. Very well. Judicial role in gender justice. My lady, if a case challenging constitutionality of laws granting maternity leave but denying paternity leave come before you, how would you approach the issue to ensure fidelity to both equality and public interest?
I will look at the laws and apply what they say. And if there's something missing, and from the point of the facts before me, I can cure any mischief or lack, I'll do so according to law.
My lady, I'm now going to focus on issues on constitutional provisions relating to the Council of States, i.e. Article 89 to 92, and the growing public calls for its abolition or reform, especially proposals to replace it with a second chamber of parliament, i.e. a Senate or a House of Elders, to strengthen deliberative governance. So my next set of questions are going to be based on these. So first would be on democratic legitimacy and constitutional design. Now, the law provides that the Council of State is an advisory body with no legislative power. Yet, it is sometimes called a toothless echo chamber. In your view,
Does its existence enhance or undermine democratic accountability and legitimacy within Ghana's constitutional framework?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm not of the view that its existence undermines what you have just said. I'm of the view that if we find that they lack certain strengths, those could be enhanced to make their output serve our purposes as a nation. Thank you.